In the last hour, it has been confirmed that COVID-19 deaths in the UK have passed 10,000. Let's get more now from Sky's Laura Bundock in the newsroom for us. It is a grim milestone. Laura, what more can you tell us about those figures?
It's a grim and very sobering moment, I think, in the outbreak. We're looking at the figures throughout the four nations. We now know that 657 more people have now died from coronavirus in England. In London, 130 more people have died. That takes the total number of confirmed deaths in England to 9,594. There have been 24 more deaths in Scotland. That takes the total to 566. In Wales, 18 more people have died, bringing the total there to 369. And in Northern Ireland, 11 more people have died. In total, 118 dying from coronavirus there. Well, we have been hearing from the Scottish Health Minister, who did add a word of caution when we look at some of these figures, particularly obviously referring to Scottish figures there, and that is perhaps the effect the bank holiday might be having on some of these figures, because as we've seen over the last few weeks, after a weekend, when you come to looking at figures on the Monday, there does seem to be a slight lag in terms of the figures. So we're seeing a drop in the figures after a weekend, and that appears to be the case after this long bank holiday weekend we're seeing at the moment, and certainly in Scotland. Or while they have increased the amount of time that you can register deaths, they're now operating on a 7-day-a-week system there, so including weekends. They do believe that we should treat with caution some of these figures, because we know that the true figures are likely to be much, much higher, and that will probably all be borne out in the coming days after this Easter weekend. Let's have a little listen to the Health Minister of Scotland and hear what she was saying a little earlier.
Today is, of course, an Easter Sunday like no other we have experienced. I want to thank everyone across the country for staying at home. I know this isn't easy, but your actions, your sacrifices are making a difference. So I'm asking you to please stick with it. It is vital that we slow the spread of this virus and save lives.
But when it comes to what these figures might be telling us about the spread of the virus, we do know that if we're looking at overall trends, the things we start to look for are the number of positive cases reported, the number of people ending up in hospital, then of course the numbers of people who've died from the virus as well. And what we are starting to see in the figures, although this is very, very early days, is a perhaps slight plateauing of certainly the number of positive cases being reported and the number of people who are ending up in hospital as well. But when we talk about a figure of over 10,000 deaths in the UK, though, now we have to remember this is much more than a statistic. This is 10,000 individuals, 10,000 people whose death is leaving behind friends, family members and colleagues missing them very much.